A couple is working in the garden, and the wife goes to take a shower. Her husband is looking for a rake and can't find it. He yells up to his wife, but she motions to him from the window that she can't hear. So he points to his eye, then his knee, and then makes raking motions. "I need the rake," he replies. She responds by pointing to her eye, grabbing her left breast, slapping her butt, and then rubbing her crotch. The man is confused and runs upstairs. "What was that?" the woman said. "I left it behind the bush." A guy was rescued from a desert island after he'd spent 6 months there after a shipwreck. Later, his friend asked, "What was it like?" He smiled ruefully. "Well, it was pretty bad. Only pineapples and coconuts to eat, and soon the pineapples ran out. Bet you miss sex." "Well, there was an ostrich there, and if I could catch it with its head in the sand, I could go up behind and give it one." "What was it like?" "Well, it was okay for the first 50 yards. Then I fell out of step." A man went into a pharmacy and asked to talk to a male pharmacist. The woman he was talking to said that she was a pharmacist and that she and her sister owned the store, so there were no males employed there. She then asked if there was something she could help the gentleman with. The man said, "This is embarrassing for me, but I have a permanent condition that causes me a lot of problems and severe embarrassment. I was wondering what you could give me for it." The pharmacist said, "Just a minute, I'll go talk to my sister." When she returned, she said, "The best we can do is 1/3 ownership in the store and $3,000 a month in living expenses." A chimpanzee walks into a bar and orders a martini. This totally amazes the bartender, but he thinks, "What the heck, I guess I might as well make the drink." He mixes the martini. He then walks back over to give it to the chimpanzee, and the animal is holding out $20. Now the bartender is at a loss for words. He can't believe that a chimpanzee walked into his bar, ordered a martini, and then actually had $20 to pay for it. In amazement, he takes the $20 and walks to the cash register to make the change. While he's standing in front of the cash register, he stops for a second and thinks to himself, "Let me try something here and see if the chimpanzee notices anything." He walks back over to the chimpanzee and hands him a dollar change. The chimpanzee doesn't say anything. He just sits, sipping the martini. After a few minutes, the bartender just can't take it anymore. "You know," he says to the chimpanzee, "we don't get too many chimpanzees in here." And the chimpanzee says, "At $19 a drink, I'm not surprised." One day, this big, nasty, sweaty woman wearing a raggedy, sleeveless sundress walks into a bar. She raises her right arm, revealing a big, hairy armpit as she points to all the people sitting at the bar and asks, "What man out there will buy a lady a drink?" The whole bar goes dead silent as the patrons try to ignore her. At the end of the bar, a skinny little pisshead slams his hand on the bar and says, "Barman, I want to buy that ballerina a drink." The barman pours the drink and the woman chugs it down. After she's completed the drink, she turns again to the throng and points around at all of them, again revealing the hairy armpit, saying, "What man out there will buy a lady a drink?" Once again, the little drunk slaps his hand down on the bar and slurs to the barman, "Sir, I would like to buy the ballerina another drink." After serving the lady her second drink, the barman approaches the little drunkard and says, "It's your business if you want to buy the lady a drink, but why do you keep calling her a ballerina?" To which the drunk replies, "Sir, in my eyes, any woman who can lift her leg up that high has got to be a ballerina." Joe's wife couldn't sleep. She was wide awake at 3 a.m. sitting downstairs in the lounge with a small lamp on, writing in her diary, "My husband is not himself and acting very strange. We met for dinner tonight at our favorite restaurant, and traffic was heavy and I was late, and thought I would hear a slide remark, but he didn't mention it at all. We were having a dangling conversation over dinner, and he kept to himself all evening. I asked him what was wrong. He said nothing. I thought there was something I did wrong, so I asked him if I made him upset. He said he wasn't upset and not to worry about it. As he was driving home, I told him, "I love you." He smiled and nodded and just kept driving. This wasn't the Joe I know. He always says, "I love you too." When we got back, he acted like he didn't want anything to do with me. He sat and watched TV completely detached, distant, and didn't want anything to do with me. So, I went upstairs and went to bed. 30 minutes later, he came to bed but didn't touch me. His head was somewhere else. He fell asleep and I cried. What can I do? I'm sure we are growing apart. My life is ruined. What did I do? The husband's diary said, a 1-foot putt. Who the hell misses a 1-foot putt? Bernie visits the emergency room with a broken arm and a large bump on his forehead. The doctor asks him what happened. Well, it was like this, said Jack. I was having a quiet game of golf with my wife when she sliced her ball into a pasture of cows. We went to look for it, and while I was searching around, I noticed one of the cows had something white at its rear end. I walked over and lifted up the tail, and sure enough, there. An elderly couple came back from a wedding one afternoon and were in a pretty romantic mood. While sitting on their love seat, the elderly woman looked at her companion and said, I remember when you used to kiss me every chance you had. The old man, feeling a bit obliged, leaned over and gave her a peck on the cheek. Then she said, I also remember when you used to hold my hand at every opportunity. The old man, again feeling obligated, reached over and gently placed his hand on hers. The elderly woman then stated, I also remember when you used to nibble on my neck and send chills down my spine. This time, the old man had a blank stare on his face and started to get up off the couch. As he began to walk out of the living room, his wife asked, Was it something I said? Where are you going? The old man looked at her and replied, I'm going in the other room to get my teeth. A woman whose husband often came home drunk decided to cure him of the habit. One Halloween night, she put on a devil suit and hid behind a tree to intercept him on the way home. When her husband came by, she jumped out and stood before him with her red horns, long tail, and a pitchfork. Who are you? He asked. I'm the devil, she responded. Well, come on home with me, he said. I married your sister.